How do we use the principles of servant leadership in order to be able to help your staff and your organization be able to navigate change?
I'll repeat the question. How do you use the principles of servant leadership to navigate change, and leave it there? So,
Yeah, we're actually going through a lot of change right now in higher ed, right? We won't I won't go into a long rant about that. But one of the things that I think about when it comes to servant leadership is really understanding your role as a leader, right? Your role as a leader is to be a facilitator, to listen, to be empathetic, to have these difficult conversations, to ensure that everyone's voice is heard. So I think a lot of components of servant leadership come into the mix as you're leading change, mostly because it's scary, right? And it's new. And we are humans, and that's not what we like to do. But I think leveraging servant leader principles like listening, being empathetic, being self-aware, right? Those are things that will really push you forward as you're having these critical conversations about change.
Yeah, I double down on how important it is to listen, reflect, and take action on feedback during change management. It's something that I think we try to lean in a lot as we're also going through quite a bit of change. We have a new CEO this year. We're building a new facility, right? So we have quite a few different things happening in our organization, and we always keep going back to like servant leadership. The first word on there is serve. Right? It's to serve. Our job as leaders of this organization is to serve our students, our families, our staff. And what does that mean for the people that we serve? We have to listen to them. We constantly are seeking that feedback, whether it's the surveys, one-on-one connections. We're coming to campuses, we're walking them, right? We're going into classrooms, and then we're responding to that feedback to ensure that we're understanding how everybody's experiencing that change, and we're being responsive immediately. So listening deeply and carefully, reflecting, and then serving, which is what we're called to do.
Yeah, I'll
what you say?
all what you said, for sure. I would add. I think there's especially in a executive leadership role, when going through an organizational change at whatever scale that looks like, it's really important to include others at the table as part of the conversation and to steer what it needs to look like. I'm one person, for example, and I have a vision most of the time, and sometimes that doesn't align with what other directors and departments believe is in the best interest of the organization, and those things all have to be aligned. So including people at the table, regardless of the level of their role and position, to help inform is really important. Secondly, to have an appropriate level, and I'll emphasize the appropriate level of transparency on what direction the organization might be going, what the change is going to look like, how it's going to impact people throughout the organization, and what their level of involvement is going to be along the way and what it's not, and to have a lot of clarity around that is pretty critical. And then to trust the competency of the people who you've hired to do the stuff. And that's a mistake I think that I've made, that a lot of leaders make, is that their decision or that their vision and their direction is the right one no matter what. But there are other people who are highly competent in helping to inform and make those decisions, and you have to be able to trust that they're going to do that and then allow them to.
Thank you. Thank you very much.